Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from group 4 and we will present about safeness in food handling process. And our members are Faisal, Muhammad Sofyan, Triana Agustin, and Nawra Lintang.
Conditions for the growth of bacteria: food, moisture, temperature, and time. Temperature control. Temperature danger zone. Most suitable temperature for bacteria growth. Optimum temperature for Staphylococcus aureus. Influence of high temperature on bacteria. Influence of high temperature on bacteria. There is chilling, freezing, food temperature checking. The next is common types of food thermometers: bimetallic steam thermometer, thermocouple thermometers, and thermistor thermometers. Infrared thermometer handheld. Infrared thermometers quickly measure surface temperatures without contact.
Okay, in this slide, I will explain about flowchart conduct for safe food and handling. The first is purchase. In purchase, we have to make sure that the food that we purchase is obtained food and ingredient from approved and reliable source. For example, like BPOM. So we have to know that the food has approved by BPOM. And in purchase, we have to confirm that the suppliers have obtained relevant and valid license from the Food Environmental Hygiene Department, and order proper amount of raw material to reduce the problem emerge for the large storage. So if we purchase like over the amount of our storage, it will be a problem for us. And the second is receiving. In receiving, we have to do inspection, like the expiry date, packaging. Like if we got something that the package is damaged, we have to reject the food. And like condition of food and temperature of frozen products, so we have to make sure that the product still on frozen. And like product identification, like we have to ensure all food on premises is clearly identified, provide information on vendor, supplier, and etc. And the third is storage. In storage, all food should be stored in a clean, covered, or protected environment with proper temperature and humidity. Food should be used according to the sequence of storage in order to avoid storing food for too long. Food should be placed on food shelves 300 mm or more above the ground and never on the ground. Never use newspaper for package the food, and don't put raw and cooked food together. We have to separate the storage between the food, the raw material, and the cooked food. And never stock up excessive food. Cooked food not served immediately should be stored at 4 degrees Celsius or below. And we have to take a look in the inventory rotation. In this module, they are use FIFO. In accounting, FIFO, it's mean that first in, first out. It's mean that the first food that we purchase must the first food that we sold. It is the mean of first in, first out. And after the storage, the fourth is thawing, preparation, and handling. In thawing, frozen food at temperature that inhibits bacteria growth. So we have to know the temperature that can prevent or avoid the bacteria temperature. Reducing the risk of illness and spoilage, minimize the time bacteria can multiply to dangerous levels. In thawing, put the food in a refrigerator or thawing cabinet maintenance at 8 degree Celsius or below. Put the food in cold running potable water and use in microwave oven, but should be cooked immediately after the food thawed. in thawing. After thawing, preparation. In preparation, there are like hands, so we have to make sure our hands still clean, and limited access to food preparation areas primarily to food handlers. For visitor, including management and maintenance staff, take all possible measures to prevent food contamination during the visit. Always keep our hand clean, like I said before. Uh, because in this hand sometimes there are bacteria that will contaminate the food, and prepare bare hand contact with the ready to eat food directly, so we have to use like gloves or something that can protect our hand to manage the food. Wear disposable gloves when handling ready to eat food, and cover sore or cut on hands by waterproof badges or gloves. And beside the hand, we have to make sure the equipment and utensils that we use to manage the food is clean, because this is very considerate. Uh, we use color coding to distinguish equipment and utensil for handling cooked and raw food. So never use the same utensil to manage the cooked food and raw materials. We have to separate the utensil. Use clean and disinfected equipment and utensils. Utilize lid and sanitized utensil for orga organoleptic tests. Immediately clean and sanitize them after tasting or before tasting another food. And handling. In handling, remove the soak and wash vegetable and fruit thoroughly. Wash raw fruit and vegetable in potable water, it's mean in clean water, before preparing or serving them in ready to eat form. And prepare sashimi only at specified area in food preparation room, because sashimi is like sensitive food because it is served in raw. Prepare raw food at specified area in food preparation room with specific chop, board, and knife. Avoid handling food too early in advance. When preparing cold mixed food, example gracias like salad or cold dishes, always cool and cook component before adding other ingredient. And chemicals should be kept separate from food processing areas. And after thawing, preparation, and handling, we can see here there are two ways. First is cooking and cold storage. Let's move to the cooking first. In cooking, food must be fully cooked. Pay attention in this section. Fully cooked, especially meat and seafood, because in meat and seafood we know there are a lot of bacteria. Cook long enough for food to reach the temperatures sufficient to kill bacteria and to ensure the food is truly cooked. When cooking raw animal food like poultry, beef, meat, ensure that the center reaches a minimum temperature. And the minimum temperature is 75 degrees Celsius for 15 seconds, or use an effective time temperature combination, 65 degree Celsius for 10 minutes, 70 degrees Celsius for 2 minutes. We can use microwave cooking, rotate or seat food throughout or midway during cooking for distribution of heat. And after cooking, we can see hot holding, serving, transport, and cooling. The first we move is hot holding, potentially hazardous, that has been prepared, cooked, and it is to be served hot, should be held at a temperature of at least 90 degree of Celsius. And in hot holding, we can see cooling after cooking. It means that the food is served in cooling condition or in cool condition, but it is cooked. We can food that has been cooked and it intended to be kept under refrigerated storage before serving. There are some ways that can help to cool food rapidly. The first is reduce the volume of the food by dividing it into smaller partition. It can help, like for what it is, the air is like uh, circulate the air, and place food in shallow containers with higher heat conductivity. It is to separate the hot temperature and cut larger quantities of meat and poultry into smaller chunks. Ensure there is space around food containers so that the cool air in the refrigerator or cool room can circulate freely, and place food in a container with cold water or ice. And after cooling, we can see the cold storage. The cold storage store raw food separately to avoid cross contamination. Keep children food at 4 degrees Celsius or below, and frozen food at minus 18 degrees Celsius or below. Avoid prolonged food storage to maintain freshness. So, like, we have to manage the food immediately for the freshness, and keep separate stock record for the food eaten raw, and it is raw materials to monitor the freshness and rotation. And in cold storage, after that reheat, it means that we like reheating the food. We had cooked and cooled food to 75 degrees Celsius or above promptly. Immediately reheating time should not exceed 2 hours, and food that has been reheated should not be cooled and reheat for a second time. So we have to know that the food does once reheat, never reheats more than one, because it is like not fresh food. And let's move to the serving or transport. So in transport, we have to make sure that our hands still clean, like in the preparation. So wash hands properly and frequently, and keep hot food at 60 degrees of Celsius or above, and cold food at 4 degrees Celsius or below. When you must bear hand contact with the ready to eat food, so we have to use gloves. Handle ice for food and drinks only with clean utensils like scopes or tongs to avoid contamination bacteria. And ice dispensing utensils should be stored on a clean surface or in the ice with dispensing utensil handle extended out of the ice. Keep fingers away from the rims of cups, glasses, plates, and dishes. Make wider use of trays for covering food. And in transport, we have to rewash and sanitize utensils such as cups or glasses displaying signs sullying or potential contamination, and never reuse item that intended to use once time. And once served to a consumer, portion of leftover food should not be served again. And after hot holding, serving or transport, cooling, cold storage, and reheat, let's move to the serve, display or serve. In this section, we have to make sure that the food securely wrap packaged food, and cover unpackaged ready to eat food with lids or protect it with food guard, and ensure the food intended to be displayed, and do not display cooked food and ready to eat food to be served in raw state together. And food displayed should be properly packaged to avoid contamination, and we have to make sure that our hand still clean to avoid the bacteria growth and contamination. All food should be kept first. All food should be kept fresh and should be disposed if deterioration is found. And in the side section is cold storage and serve cold display. It is same like I said before, cold storage and serve, but the difference is that the food intended to serve in hot, we have to reheat the food, and the food that intended to serve in cold display, we doesn't need to reheat the food. And the last step that doesn't exist in the flowchart but exists in the module is disposal. Disposal means rejected or identify unsafe food promptly by marking, labeling, or isolating it. Keep such food separate and dispose of it quickly to ensure it is not available for human consumption. So if we found the food is identified is not safe, or we have to reject this food, so we have to throw away the food uh, to keep our kitchen safe.
What are the 5 keys to food safety? The World Health Organization has advocated 5 simple and effective keys for people to follow to prevent foodborne diseases. They are: number 1 is choose safe raw materials. Number 2 is clean. Keep hands and utensils clean. Number 3 is separate raw and cooked food. Number 4 is cook thoroughly. Number 5 is safe temperature. Keep food at or below 4 Celsius or 60 Celsius.
Next, personal hygiene of catering practitioner. Human body is source of many types of contamination and also a common medium of cross contamination. Personal hygiene affect food safety as well as customer impression of food premises. Appearance is reflect a person's personality and will always leave an impression. From this personality, one character can be formed and will make an impression on other people. For example, among others, 1. Hair should be kept short. 2. Nails should be kept short and unpolished. 3. No jewelry should be worn to avoid them from falling on the food and cause contamination. And 4. Heavy makeup and strong perfume or aftershave should be avoided. 2. Personal habit. In food preparation area, one should avoid the following behavior which may result in contamination of food. 1. Storing personal belongings such as handbags, shoes and socks, umbrella, and dirty clothing in any food preparation area. 2. Smoking cigarette or tobacco. 3. Spitting. 4. Chewing, eating, sneezing, or chewing over or protect food or food contact surface. 5. Sitting, lying, or standing on any surface of equipment touched by food. 6. Touching ready-to-eat food with bare hands or tasting food with finger. And the last, combing or touching hair or other part of the body such as nose, eye, or ears. 3. Health condition. Occupational health is a state of health which aims to ensure that workers obtain the highest possible degree of health, both physical, spiritual, and social, by preventing and treating diseases or health problems caused by work and the environment. A. Personal health. 1. One with symptoms of acute intestinal infection, disease like diarrhea and vomiting or of sore throat should not handle food. 2. Report the illness or symptoms of the illness to the employer or supervisor and seek medical treatment. 3. Should immediately be suspended from engaging in any work which may involve direct or indirect contact with food, including the contact with food, utensils, or equipment. And last, staff order by health officer and just working or taking part in food business should have written clearance from health officer before returning to handle food. P. Injuries. Open cut or wound of the exposed part of the body should be completely protected by impermeable or waterproof cloth or adhesive plaster. 2. In case of bleeding or purulent, sores in ears, mouth, and gums, one should stop working. 4. Health management. Health management should include the health checks for new equipment and health records for serving staff. A. Health checks for new equipment. Supervisor should review the applicant past health record, such as whether they have ever been patients of foodborne infection, disease, or a carrier of certain diseases, and consider whether the applicant are sustainable for eating food in order to prevent transmission of harmful bacteria to food in the daily work. B. Health surveillance for serving staff. Serving practitioners are serving from disease, including any of the following, especially those which are highly contagious and food poisoning related, should report their health condition to their supervisor and stop handling food. 5. Hand hygiene. To prevent bacteria from contamination to the food after the food handlers have touched the surrounding object during their work. 4 handlers should wash hands in the following situation: 1. Before commencing work. B. Before handling food. C. After using toilet. D. After handling raw food. A. Hand washing procedure. This is a procedure of washing hand. B. How to ensure the staff have washed their hands. 1. Check the hygiene of their hands regularly or perform random check from time to time. 2. Install hand washing facility on the way to workplace to facilitate hand washing before entering and after leaving the workplace. And 3. Wash basins should be kept clean, ensure of adequate water supply, preferably with hot water, and equipped with liquid soap and suitable hand drying facility. 6. Protective overall. 1. Like coral, clean and appropriate. 2. Buttons should preferably be avoided on the clothing as they may come off and fall on the foot. 3. Hair should be covered with a clean head or hairnet. Long hair should be tied back as well. 4. Should wear disposable gloves when holding ready-to-eat food. This should be discussed in damaged soil or when interruption occur in the operation. 5. Wear mouth mask when holding food as far as possible. They should be discarded when damaged, soiled, or after prolonged use. And the last, wear close cap to shoes.
Next, we will talk about fire safety, the use of fire, electric stoves, fryers, and etc. in the restaurant is fire-prone. Insufficient and improper maintenance and cleaning work, and accumulation of grease, especially accumulation of grease in exhaust hood, increase the risk of fire greatly. Firefighting principle. There are three. Number one, three elements are required for an object to burn, namely combustible, oxygen, and heat. Number two, once any one of the three elements is removed, the fire can be put out successfully. And number three, the use of different fire extinguisher can remove one or more elements to extinguish fire. Next, firefighting facilities and equipment. As restaurants face higher fire hazard, they have more stringent requirements on firefighting facilities and equipment. The following are firefighting facilities and equipment commonly found in restaurants, such as fire extinguisher, fire blanket, sun bucket, fire hose reel, fire sprinkler system, emergency lighting, and the last is visual alarm system. Fire extinguisher, portable fire extinguisher are to allow people to extinguish the fire under a safe condition and distance before the fire spreads and becomes uncontrollable, so as to avoid more serious property and human life losses. And I will give an example. First is about carbon dioxide gas type extinguisher. It displaces oxygen to extinguish the fire. The use is on electrical fires, flammable liquids, electronic equipment, or documents. Number two is water type extinguisher. It cools the burning materials. Used on fires involving wood, plastic, textile, or paper. Number three, dry powder type extinguisher. It utilizes chemicals to absorb heat or prevent heat from transferring from the full surface to the air. Used on most fires, including flammable liquids or electrical fires. Number four is clean agent fire extinguisher residue free. No residual chlorofluorocarbon used on electrical fires, flammable liquids, electronic equipment, or documents. And the last is foam type extinguisher. The foam can float on the top of the burning liquid, isolating the full surface from the air. The use is on fire involving flammable liquids. And the last, I will tell you about the example of case that we have. Number one is about in hotels in Banyuwangi. There were a number of journalists participating on financial literacy training at one of the hotels in Banyuwangi suddenly sneezed and vomited to suspect food poisoning. The Banyuwangi Health Service team and Banyuwangi Police quickly processed the investigation of what was going on. According to the health department, several possibilities are errors in foods, drinks, and the way the food is processed. And it turns out that the hotel processed seafood that was not fresh. Their body refused to reprocess the stale food and making the journalist suddenly vomit and sneeze. With such cases, the hotel was given a warning to be more careful in processing food. And the case sample number 2 is in 1112 Cafe in Malang City burns. On Monday night, November 27, 2023, the cafe is owned by Rimza, and it is suspected that the fire was caused by a short circuit in the oven in the kitchen. A witness, Anzala Ahmad Sauki, saw smoke and flames, causing visitors and employees to run away. Anzala contacted fire officials, who arrived within 10 minutes and managed to put out the fire after 29 minutes. There were no casualties, but material losses were estimated at 158 million rupiahs. The cause of the fire is thought to have originated from an oven or grill, but a police investigation is still needed for further confirmation. So, in this case, not only in hotels, cafes should also be equipped with fire extinguisher, and the staff should be able and know how to use them. That way, the fire that occur will not overflow to harm other parties. So that's all from our group. If you have any question, write it down in comments, and thank you for watching and thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.